We're on. We're live. If anyone's listening, is there anybody out there?
We're here, kiddies.
Not
Nope.
just you guys, everyone else, but that's all right because we're gonna put this up on YouTube and everyone will be happy. And today we're going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett, Episode One, Chapter One, whatever you want to call it. So finally, it dropped. I think it dropped. Did it drop on the day after Christmas or something like that? I don't know. I watched it after that.
Dropped on the
It-
29th.
Yep, that
29th.
Wednesday.
So way after that. So yeah. What'd you guys think of it? General impressions.
The first episode, it was all right, but it's like I don't know. It's like I can't say it was anything like special, really.
I did like it. I thought it was awesome to kind of see how he survived and get a little background in his time in Tatooine. And we know we're going to get more of that, but I like the setup. I love the setup to see how he took over Jabba's palace, and people were coming over to pay tribute, to the new hut, the new Fett man, and
The daimyo of Tatooine.
the daimyo of Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
And I love seeing that set up and that establishment that Boba Fett is here, and he's here to change the system, change the game of Tatooine, but also to get that background of how we got to this point. Jason, you can probably explain more in depthly about this, but Star Wars fan, I remember for many years, Boba Fett has always been a fan favorite character, and the way he went out in Return of the Jedi, I know a lot of fans were like disheartened and in disbelief, like, nah, he can't die, dude. He's so dope. Like, he has a jetpack and can easily get out.
So let me, before he goes into that, because I just want to go into the history of this. Like, if we were only looking at the original trilogy, where have we seen Boba Fett? So essentially, he's not really in A New Hope. I mean, they put that scene in there where you see him, but I don't think he has any dialogue.
Nope, it's just him passing by, I guess, part of Jabba's entourage.
Correct. And the most we see of him, of course, is in
Empire.
Empire, I think, right? Because
That's where he actually gets some dialogue.
Absolutely. Yep,
Mhm.
exactly. Which I know that in the remastered editions, they redid his voice with Tamura's, right?
Wouldn't
Who's
surprise
the
me.
actor who did it, right?
I
So
believe they did. Yes.
yeah. So, which doesn't bother me at all. I don't have any problems with that. That's
No,
an
that
edit.
would
I'm like,
have been a post episode 2 revision, because remember the special editions came out before the prequel trilogy.
no, I mean it's like it's in the latest of whatever they do to it.
Gotcha.
Like the latest
Blu-ray
whatever.
releases.
Yeah, thank you. That's what it was. It was when they re-released it on Blu-ray. They did some more to it, and that's what it was. That is the same thing you'll see on like Disney Plus streaming, right? So, and I mean it's kind of minor because there's only a few lines in there, right, that he says. But
Mhm.
regardless, I mean it's neither here nor there because it's the same stuff. It's just different actor. But then we kind of see him. He's badass. We like the way he kind of like follows Millennium Falcon in Slave One, and he's like, he's just tracking him down.
He's a man of mystery with like an intimidating good look.
Yeah. So and then in the Return of the Jedi, he's part of Jabba's entourage. He takes off, hits something, gets eaten by a Sarlacc. I mean, it's like, yeah. So to I think Myron, your point just there, people were disappointed in that. So
Yeah, because you can't forget how the character first came about in his very, very first appearance.
In the Star Wars Holiday Special.
So yeah, right, exactly. So, but to pivot off of that, Jason, this is kind of what Myron was talking about with you. Was like, so then they decided to write more about him. This is all the legend, the legend stuff. You want to talk about that for a sec?
Yeah, basically, Boba Fett was too cool and had too much of a fan following to stay dead for long. Basically, made his first he's made his first reappearance in the Star Wars Dark Empire comic by Tom Veitch and Cam Kennedy. Basically, the broad story is basically about Luke's turn to the dark side and Han and Leia's attempt to rescue him from the resurrected Emperor's clutches. But at one point, they wind up going to Han Solo's old haunts on the smuggler's moon of Nar Shaddaa, and where they're going back to Han's apartment to get some power converters. That's when they encounter like Fett, and because he knew where they were going, and he's been waiting for them to show up. And basically, like when Han asks, like, Boba Fett, but you're dead, and Fett just says, Sarlacc family is somewhat indigestible. And as far as like Returns to the Dead go, that is pretty solid right there. I mean, just tells us, hey, this guy was too mean, too badass to be eaten by the Sarlacc. And it's like I was perfectly fine with that. Just assume that, hey, Boba Fett, not able to be killed by falling into like a pit where he's gonna be digested for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was gonna say, but we get in this. Well, let's not talk about the book Boba Fett. Let's talk about Boba Fett. He was in the Mandalorian. We talked about that, and of course, the question is, how did he survive? Because no official explanation has been given yet. They gave us one.
Yeah, we got one. Yeah, we got one in the Book of Boba Fett, the first episode. But the one we got in it's like in the expanded universe, like the Legends canon now, it was a lot weirder because basically we find out that the Sarlacc has basically absorbed some of the consciousness of the people that it's eaten over the years. So basically, it has a nice conversation with Boba Fett about life of the universe and everything. It's been a long ass time since I read that story, and the specifics of the conversation I don't remember, except for one bit where he makes an analogy to like an old Earth joke that I remember, where basically like this moisture farmer talks about how this Barv saved his family. It's like did all these great things like for his and but then like the guy talking to him says, hey, why does your Barv only have 3 legs? Oh, you don't eat a Barv like that all at once. And that's basically what the Sarlacc was doing to Fett. Only Fett was able to convince or cajole him in such a way that basically Sarlacc's acids wound up eating into his backpack, his jetpack, and the explosion from the jetpack was basically disturbed the Sarlacc enough to basically allow Fett to fight his way out and get back and drag himself out of the pit. Where a little while later he was picked up by Dengar, who was, if I recall correctly, there was something else was going on with him and Jabba, but basically Dengar was able to picked him up after Fett had crawled out of the pit and helped nurse him back to health. Mm-hmm. So that's basically how Fett got back into circulation in the Legends canon. Which what we got here? Well, a little different, maybe not quite as exciting or strange.
Yeah. So basically, in this story, and by the way, this occurs via a flashback while he's in a Bacta tank. I don't know how to pronounce that. Bacta tank. So, which appears to be a pretty interesting storytelling device because they use it a couple of times in this episode, if I'm not mistaken. It's like, oh, it's going back. So we've got essentially present day, and then we have, hey, here's stuff that happened before, and
here's stuff in the post Return of the Jedi era, just like how he got out of the pit and what happened to him afterwards.
Yep. So. Yeah, Myron. So how do you do it? How did he get out of it this time?
Well, I mean, it kind of takes, to me, it kind of takes a little bit from the stories that Jason's kind of talking about, but obviously, they changed it up to where he threw off his flamethrower and just burned his way out and just crawled out of the sand. And to Jason's point too, I thought they were going to do that to where he was going to use his backpack in some type of way. But I thought it was interesting at this approach because when you see him in the Sarlacc pit and you see the bodies of stormtroopers there, it gave me this sense of urgency to where he realizes oh snap, I got to figure out what I need to do to get out of here, and kind of looking around and scrambling on what tools and ways available for him to try to escape. So just lighting off his flamethrower, thus kind of burning himself and getting dissolved by stomach acids. It was a real fight to survive, and to see him come out of the sand scarred and burned and living again just is a testament on how badass Boba Fett is as a character.
So there's a couple of things that I noticed, and I think someone discussed this, so I can't take full credit for it, but there's some plausibility to this. Like, oh, okay, well, that makes it like, like, okay, he broke out of Sarlacc, but I think that we're led to believe that the Sarlacc has died or is like dying or weakened for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say this is two things. And the theory that was presented was that the explosion from Jabba's sail barge injured the Sarlacc, thus causing it to be in a weakened state. I think we get a visual clue to this, because if you look at the episode and you see where he crawls out of, you can see one of the tentacles just kind of laying flat there.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of the pit. It's out of the pit itself, but it's just laying there. And I think that probably appears to fit the facts, at least what we know. So, and then this, and I don't even know what that period of time is right there. It's like, how long has he been there? Maybe not long. I don't know. Maybe we'll get more of a time frame in later episodes about that.
I think you'd have to look up Sarlacc digestion processes in order to kind of gauge like the time frame. How much time he had to get out.
Well, he had like 100 years, 100 or 1,000 years. Like, I can't remember what the. It's like how C-3PO translated what Jabba was saying there.
Yeah. I know they made mention of that, and I totally forgot to. Like, he's like, Lord Jabba hopes that you will suffer in your blah 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 years. Yes, you're slowly digested. Forever
like
or whatever.
10,000 years.
10,000
It
years
might be a bit. But contemplating that, you obviously die. So he goes up to the stormtrooper, that's being digested, and cuts that thing. And I don't remember stormtroopers in the Return of the Jedi in this scene. So I'm just saying.
I guess they must have fell in back when they first came to Tatooine looking for like the droids.
Yeah, that's possibly what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, and they're still there because Empire didn't care to dig them out because, hey, stormtroopers, expendable. We got thousands of them, man.
Yes, they're lousy shots, but they're good fodder.
Mm-hmm. Dime a dozen.
Yeah, but if I was a betting man, I'd say he was in there for like less than a day.
That's what I'm thinking. Because why?
I don't know, just because it doesn't seem like make any sense for him to be in there for longer, like based on what we know.
Agreed.
Yeah, he wouldn't put up with that shit.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So yeah, he makes it out, and he, somehow tunnels his way up, and then
and the Jawas strip him for parts.
Right. So here we go. What's his name that we saw in the Mandalorian that was wearing the armor from the Jawas that he traded?
Yeah, Cobb Vanth.
Yep. So we've got now a connection to that. Like, we have like an answer. So it's like there's a few answers there, and then he's just left on. They don't care. They just want the armor. It's Beskar to him.
Jabba's like, no, this is just like squishy, fleshy bits. We don't need those.
Yes, right, exactly. And then the Sand People find him and drag him away.
And here's where the larger story begins.
Yeah,
exactly. So, so some good stuff there. But I don't know if we should call this the B plot. Present day. We have, Jabba sitting on his, I don't know, what do you want to call it, throne?
We have Boba sitting on Jabba's throne.
I'm sorry, Boba sitting on Jabba's throne.
Mhm.
And he's like, yep. And he's like, got people who are paying him tribute, I guess. So,
Yep.
including some Gamorrean guards, right? Um, they they look a little bit leaner than the ones I remember from the Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I digress. So, um,
That's because loyalty kept them in shape.
yeah, that's right. um, so they pretty much, they just pretty much swear their allegiance to him, and whatever. So good on him. We saw the death of Bib Fortuna, right?
Yeah.
We saw
Yep.
that he died in the other episode, um, in the Mandalorian. So, spoilers. Go watch Mandalorian. Anyway, so and then we also see. I forget the name of the race, but the one representing the man.
The
So,
Twi'lek.
Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight. Yeah. And I think that there's a veiled threat there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, the mayor of that area. What it wasn't Mos Eisley, it was
Oh,
Mos.
Mos Espa.
Thank you, Mos Espa, the mayor of Mos Espa, who seems to be in some type of corrupted political power as well. Who was probably working closely with Jabba, is kind of expecting the same type of deal. And obviously, we're not seeing that type of reciprocation from Boba Fett. And so, just from that, like instance of tribute not being paid to one another, I've already sensed like, okay, there might be some type of friction moving forward between Boba Fett and this house of mayor, whoever this person is. So I like just from that main instance, that's where I kind of got the vibe like, okay, here's where we're headed, where there must be some type of like uh council of people in power, and things are going to go sideways just because there's a new gangster in town who really wants to shake up things and change things around here. And so that's where our adventure could possibly lie. However, I haven't seen the second episode yet, and we still have what, 4 to go. So I'm very
Oh,
intrigued
this
to
is gonna be
see.
like I think 8 or 9. But
Oh,
I do want
that's
to say that I do
even
want to say
better.
I do want to say, Myron, that you're right. You're just not right
Okay.
the way you think you are.
Okay. See, yeah. So we have way more episodes than I anticipated. So that's always awesome, and I'm very
Oh,
intrigued to see where
7
they're going to go with this.
episodes, or at least
7. Okay.
that's all that IMDb has listed so far.
Okay.
Okay. Could be more. Just that's what we know now. That's what they're
Mhm.
doing. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So we get a little taste of that, and then after that scene, we see Boba taking a tour of the town, which
Yep.
kind of reminded me of like um for Don Corleone kind of going through
Yep.
going
Hold
through
on.
New York, just kind of surveying the town and letting everybody know that I'm here. That's that
Yeah.
vibe. That's that vibe I got from that initial walk, and I'm like, all right, already gangster right here. And then
Okay.
we
Did
see
Oh,
it.
did
and I want
Fennec
to. Yeah,
mention like
I
shouldn't
want
you
to.
be carried or something? I don't know his Fennec.
Yes.
Actually, we haven't mentioned Fennec yet because
Oh
she's
yeah.
basically been backing him up. She's basically been with him in every scene of the episode so far because she's basically his right hand for this for this whole this endeavor he's doing. To be the
Right.
new daimyo of Tatooine.
Right. And like John said too, she brings up some points about being carried because she's making mention like you want to show your power, this is how it's done here. You want to show your dominance, and he's like, nah, I'm going to change that. I'm going to do something different. And so I like how to your point, Jason, too, she's his right-hand man, and she obviously I want to know a little bit more about her past as well, because it seems like she kind of has some roots in the underworld of Star Wars, where she knows about these rules and knows about these processes that need to happen to show your power and show your dominance to your
If you want to
rival.
know more about her literal past, then you should check out on the Bad Batch since she pops up there a couple times.
And see, I'm super behind on all that stuff, Bad Batch and what Clone Wars. I need to catch up. You need to catch up. But yeah, I'm there's a lot to me in this first episode. I felt like there's a lot of like visual cues to sink in here and get some ideas of where they could go with this.
Yeah. I particularly do like, of course, they get attacked and stuff like that, talent and all that. But I think that, uh, you know, and the one thing is like, that Boba Fett kind of gets knocked down, and he tells Fennec, who chases after one of the assassins, Fennec alive. Just like he wants him alive, capture him alive. So he wants to know who the bastard is sending him, or who it is. It's attacking. So anyway.
the parkour ninjas.
Yep. So,
but I did enjoy that scene where they go into the club and we see Jennifer Beals, who is like super fine as a Twi'lek, and he establishes like a relationship, with her, establishing like, hey, I'm ruling. I took over Boba's operation. I mean, Jabba's operations. Like I'm running the show now. Basically establishing that relationship in town, and got some coin out of it.
Yeah.
It was like a friendly shakedown.
Yeah. Wait. Wait. Is that the part where his helmet's full of coin?
Yep.
Like it's like. Yep. And what did Fennec say? I forgot. Like it was like, oh, mine didn't come with as many coins or something.
Something like that. Because the moment they walked in, they took they said, "Can we take your helmets to be cleaned or whatever?" And so they took off their helmets, gave it to them, and then of course, Boba Fett exchanged words with the proprietor of that establishment, and just letting her know what's up. And then once their clean, quote unquote, cleaned helmets came back, Boba's helmet was full of coin, and I think Fennec did make a comment or something like, "Oh, no coin in my helmet," and then Boba responded to that too. So, yeah, and it kind of pissed me off too. Like after they leave and they get jumped by the parkour ninjas, like the Jawas, like steal his money, and I'm like, dude, you already stole the man's suit. Now you're stealing his money, man. Like, Boba, you need to go. You need to go after these little bastards. Like when you're done with these roof ninjas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of good setup for that in here as well. Not for like going after the Jawas per se, because that would be interesting. Although we did see Mando chase after Jawas, that did not end as well as he wanted.
No.
He really had to work for that one. But interesting plot point. But the next time he goes in the back tank is after this attack, and then he flashes back to his time with the Sand People again. We get that whole thing where the youngling Sand Kid. I don't know what else to call him. Sand Person Kid.
Tuscan Kid.
Tuscan Kid. Yeah, Tuscan Kid's probably the best way to put it. Tuscan Kid, has got the two. Well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things that happen there, but yeah, essentially, you go out to dig for. What are they digging for? I don't even. It's like the little water things, the water gourds.
Water, yeah.
Yeah, it's like basically like after like Jabba stripped Fett from his suit, the Sand People, the Tuscan Raiders, pick him up and basically drag him back to their camp because they figure, hey, like live person like in the desert, he can be good for like doing menial tasks and all. It's like, and Fett just kind of has to play along with this for a bit because it's like they kind of got the drop on him here.
Yep.
But it's like, hey, this is Tatooine. There's always plenty of monsters lurking in the sands that will allow our hero a chance to prove himself.
Yeah, evidently Goro from Mortal Kombat makes sense.
Seriously. I was like, oh man, this thing could walk on 4 legs or stand up on 2 and have 4 arms. It's like, oh man, what a beast to have to battle with no real weapons around. So
The one thing that I'm liking about this is, like, through the whole thing. I mean, we can talk about it too. We've been discussing points and stuff. But the thing I like is that we're getting a little bit more world building on the Tusken Raiders, the Sand People.
Oh yes,
And I like this. I really do. I think this is a great element.
I do too, because I mean we get to see. I think we got a little good. We got a really good introduction to the Tusken Raider culture within Mandalorian. I think.
Yep.
When they were hunting that. Oh man, I forgot some
Great dragon.
some monster they were hunting. But in this, it almost seems like they're a nomadic tribe like that knows how to survive and conquer the desert. And I was really intrigued by this first episode and seeing how Boba Fett basically Boba Fett is a survivor. He's always been a survivor ever since Jango Fett was beheaded by Mace Windu. And to see him be captured and try to escape and fight off the Tusken Raiders, like I even got from his first escape attempt and drag back that at some point he's going to prove himself and establish some type of relationship with this clan. And I love that we have like a Tusken Raider general with it amongst this clan, and the way he comes out holding a staff and always holding like a whatever that plant is. It's like a ball of water that the things that they dig up from the sand.
It's a gourd.
Like a gourd,
Yep.
like always looking out on him, like even intrigued by this stranger. Like he lets his people do whatever to him, like beat him or whatever, because he's a prisoner. But I can, without any facial expression or anything, the actor's mannerisms and the way he's on looking Boba Fett kind of gives me this. It gave me that sense like he finds this man intriguing in some sort of way, and let's see what happens, in his time here with us. And obviously, what you mentioned earlier, John, about him having to fight a Goro creature buried in the sand, that was his moment of proving in which like he defeated this creature, with some chains and saved the youngling. And I love that exchange at the end when he like comes up next to him and just passes him the gourd. Like, oh, I thought that was so powerful. I was like, dude, that was so badass.
I love that. I really did. It appeared the youngling was taking credit for
Yeah.
taking it down, and
Yes.
like the elder was like, "I know it was you."
Yes, yes.
Hands in the gourd with the water. Like that. I agree with you 100%. Like that was badass. Like, yeah, he's like, "I know what I'm looking at."
because when we were first introduced to Boba Fett again in Mandalorian, where he's just like a desert nomad, and now we're seeing him like like create this bond with this Tusken Raider tribe. I'm more intrigued to see these flashbacks on what other survival skills he's learned in the desert, because obviously between the time of Return of the Jedi all the way to Mandalorian, this guy's been living in the desert for who knows how many years, and based off of that life, he's developed way more badass combat skills.
Well, basically, it's like if you like that and the Tusken Raider stuff in in the first episode, you're really gonna like the next episode even more. Because the thing is, like my main issue with the first episode, I think the pacing was a little on the stately, like slow side, and like I liked with like the action and the world building when it happened, but also the fact that we really don't have an understanding why is Boba Fett, an established bounty hunter, suddenly wanting to take over Jabba's business. I mean, why is he doing this now? I mean, that I don't like. The first episode was just kind of like left you wondering why, and just like, oh, because the plot demanded it. That seems to be the reason that we're supposed to accept based on this first episode. Now, I realize we can't talk about episode 2 yet, but I will say that while it doesn't offer any specific answers, it offers a lot of stuff that imply that you can infer a reason as to why he's doing this. So that was one thing that kind of annoyed me about this first episode, though.
And I can understand that, and I have to believe we will probably get some answers to that. But I mean, you said it best earlier, where when Jabba was ruling things, like, Boba Fett was always there. That was like his, not necessarily his lackey, but kind of like his ace in the hole. Like, I need something done, I can always count on Boba Fett. But you got to imagine, probably on the back end, like, yeah, I'm working with Boba Fett's like, I'm working with Jabba because I get paid and I'm making a living. But I don't know, man. This guy's kind of a jackass, and he deserved to die when he when he got tricked by Luke and fell for that and let go of Han, and he messed up. I could run this operation better. I know it's not going to be like that shallow, but still, I think as the series progresses, we have to get some type of explanation in which he decided to come back and take over this operation. Because, yeah, I mean, you can either live in the desert all your life and kick it on Tatooine, but at the same time, he left to help. I forgot
Mando.
Mando's. He went to go help Mando and decided to come back to Tatooine. And it's like, why, dude? This place sucks. Like, you could go to so many other different places. So there has to be a specific reasoning, to your point, Jason, like why he decided to come back and take over this operation. And I have a strong psychic belief, to quote Ghostbusters 2, I have a strong belief that we're going to get those explanations as the series progresses.
Yeah, it appears to have been
Maybe as soon as episode 2. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
so.
I'm super. Dave Filoni and John Favreau have done such a fantastic job with this franchise that, like, I can't see this series do any wrong. Like, I'm really hyped. I'm on the hype train on this already, and like, I get what you're saying, Jason. Like, yeah, the first episode was just kind of like that intro, that establishment, and I'm hoping that we're going to get more deeper storylines in the underworld, and a lot more great action scenes. And that's what I expect from this series, because Mandalorian just laid the groundwork to such good Star Wars storytelling on the small screen.
Yeah, and again, giving the Tusken Raiders that backstory, just building that world, like, and then, I suspect that, we will see more of, the reasons why, he chooses to rule from Jabba's ex throne, which is now his throne, and what he's doing. There's, I suspect that those reasons will become more clear, as you guys have also speculated. So,
and I'm hoping by the end of this season, like, Boba Fett wakes up and you realize that episode 7, 8, and 9 was all a dream, and that gives Dave Filoni and John Favreau a chance to redo the sequel trilogy. But that's just wishful thinking.
Definitely though, and this is one thing I haven't done, is after seeing this, it's like I haven't gone back and watched the Mandalorian episodes that specifically have Boba Fett in it. So maybe I'll go rewatch those and just check them out, just to see. So, see what clues from there I might be missing that might be alluded to here. So, anyways,
and I think we're due, and I'm hoping so. I think we're due for Mando this year, possibly.
Yeah, my guess is it'll probably be after they're done with broadcasting the Boba Fett stuff, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Well, the other thing is, like, what they've said that there's going to be, like that the Obi-Wan series. We know they've been working on that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
There's also the Cassian Andor series as well, which apparently Disney has actually said that these things are going to happen. I think there was also like a series set in the High Republic, the Acolyte, which is supposed to be out as well. But Disney has apparently been not really said anything about Mandalorian season 3, so it could be, we may not be getting season 3 this year. It may just like dip into early 2023. I mean, we'll see. They could surprise us if we've got like like 8 or 9 months before it should be set to appear. So
yeah, it should be interesting to see. At least we know it appears like
we are not going to be hurting for Star Wars content on Disney Plus over the next year.
yeah, even if I'm only watching these two things, like The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, it doesn't appear to. It just appears to be good. Yeah, some of the, what I was really happy to see is some of that end art stuff.
Oh yeah, that's always really nice.
That's really nice stuff, man. So, any other final comments on this one?
Yeah, I don't see him like the Jawas are just like being little dicks in this series. I don't see them going on like envisioning some kind of like campaign to to wipe them off the face of Tatooine, because that just seems like bullying right there.
Yeah, I mean,
sounds like an Empire thing. No,
yeah,
they're adorable little characters. They're just little assholes, man. Like, man, get out of here, dude. Like, get out of here.
It's like trash pandas that walk on their hind legs. Yeah,
basically. I was just upset for Boba Fett because it's like, first you stole the man's armor and left him like in his drawers in the desert, and then now you're stealing this guy's money. And it's like, at this point, dude, like, some of these Jawas got to get like socked in the face. So, but yeah, he's gonna get more money. He'll gangster more money from somewhere else. Like that was probably just a little chump change for him. But he could have bought himself like a thermal detonator Coke or Sprite or blue milk like you can at Disneyland. But But yeah, I'm on the hype train for this, dude. I mean, after watching it, I was like, yeah, I gotta pre-order this Black Series Boba Fett figure. I need another Mando in my collection.
By the way, that was kind of Easter eggy, right? I think it was when when they entered the bar. They had the blue dude and one of the cantina guys.
Oh yeah, Max Rebo.
I forgot about this. Yeah, thank you for the name. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, hey, there's that, and evidently it's a variation on the on the original cantina theme that we heard in the New Hope.
Okay,
but I didn't really.
It was good to know that he survived, like being on Jabba's barge.
Yeah, no sweat for him, right? Him and Bib must have taken the same escape pod.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there is a droid in there that I spotted right off the top. Did you notice it, Myron?
No, I didn't spot any droid, or at least pay any attention to any droids.
Yeah, so rewatch the episode. There's a droid in there. It's straight out of Galaxy's Edge.
We're in the you know what? I did. You talking about the little droid from Star Tours?
Yeah, and he's in Star Tours too. So they got him there and there. So it's got the little round mount. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I spotted him. I was like, dude, that's from the attractions.
I did notice that too. I was like, oh, it's Pee Wee Herman's droid.
Yeah, that's it.
The one who can't fly and give proper tours.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, oh, that's a neat Disneyland kind of like nod.
That is, yeah.
So
it's funny to me when I mentioned earlier, like how Boba Fett started off as an animated character in the Star Wars holiday special, and he's just blown into like a fan favorite popular character throughout the years from that introduction. And when I think about, I used to be a super diehard Star Wars figure collector, and I remember like Power of the Force, that's where I started really, like Power of the Force and on, like anything Boba Fett, Slave One figures, helmet, whatever, like always got scooped up and always sold out. And then I kind of saw that trend again with Mandalorian too, like Mandalorian Grogu based products, like fans eat them up. And now with this show, I'm feeling that hype again. As I said, I was like, oh, I got to jump on this Mando figure. I'm thinking about, there's another Boba Fett figure that oh man, it was like a legacy line figure that I'm thinking about getting. But man, like I'm really hyped to see like what other Boba Fett products come out from Book of Boba Fett, like a what's this Mandalorian you sent me, the company's name?
Mayfex.
Thank you. Like a Mayfex based Book of Boba Fett figure. I'm really stoked because I love the coloring and the kind of like design of his like his outfit. Like
Yeah.
it's still like classic, yet it's very sleek and modernized.
Mhm.
And because old school Boba Fett was like very tarnished and like pale. The darker greens and the darker reds on his new outfit, it looks more like militaristic, and I love like this new look for him. So I'm like all about Boba Fett figures right now.
Yeah. I have the Black Series Boba Fett from the what do you call it? From The Empire Strikes Back. I have that figure, the 6-inch figure.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally want this one. Like, I would like it if he took you're able to take the helmet off. That's probably
On this new one,
wishful thinking. Yeah.
yeah, he has swappable heads.
Yeah, swappable heads is probably what I'd go for.
Mhm.
That I would totally dig that.
Yep.
Yep. Cool. Any other final thoughts, y'all?
Maybe we'll get a run in with Grogu this season. Who knows?
Oh, well, the possibilities are definitely there. There might be some other possibilities as well. So
I'm really interested to see what cameos and crossovers come up in this series too.
You'll be seeing a certain Wookiee in the next episode.
I see.
they're just dropping the hint.
Just dropping a hint. There's only one Wookiee you really like give a damn about anyway. So
Yes,
True.
just one Wookiee.
Too true. All right, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
Have a good weekend, kiddies.
Laters.
Oh, I think John kicked himself out.
I think he did too, because I immediately heard it's like like things like go off in his back. It's like in the back.